Noah Brown's story, once rooted in the silent, snow-covered wilds of Alaska, now unfolds under the glaring spotlight of public judgment. As one of the standout faces from Alaskan Bush People, Noah carved out a persona grounded in grit, self-reliance, and quiet determination. But that rugged, peaceful image has since shattered. In its place, we now see a man caught in an emotional whirlwind, pulled between the raw ache of family betrayal and the deafening buzz of public speculation. If you think reality TV shows us everything, think again. The truth behind Noah Brown is far more tangled than any scripted moment could ever reveal. What sparked this sudden unraveling? Back in August 2024, Noah and his wife, Rain, filed for a restraining order against his younger sister, Rain. This wasn't just another family spat made bigger by cameras. It was a public outcry for protection. The claims were disturbing: accusations of stalking, erratic outbursts, and even the threat of violence. Allegedly, Rain's unpredictable behavior, possibly linked to substance issues, had become too dangerous to ignore. Noah and Rain feared not only for their peace of mind but for the safety of their children. It was a dramatic, heartbreaking development, and one that threatened to forever fracture the tightly knit image the Browns had long maintained. Here's where the shock deepens. The court didn't grant the restraining order. Why? Lack of concrete evidence. That decision struck like lightning across the already stormy skies of the Brown household. For Noah and Rain, it felt like their pleas had been silenced. And for fans watching from afar, it was a stark reminder that even those who appear strong on screen can face the most vulnerable breakdowns in private. The family feud spilled onto social media like wildfire, with Rain publicly denying the claims and casting doubt on Rain's motives, insisting she'd been misrepresented and unfairly demonized. Rain didn't shy away from sharing her side. In a vulnerable post, she opened up about her mental health battles and past substance use, confessing that while she had struggled, she was actively working toward recovery. Still, she challenged Noah's actions and questioned Rain's role in escalating the conflict. Perhaps the most stinging blow? Rain's assertion that Rain had changed her name, as if to cut ties entirely with the family. But in a surprising twist of heart, Rain ended her statement not with resentment, but with a bittersweet Merry Christmas message to Noah, a signal that despite it all, a flicker of hope for reconciliation still glimmered. It's a harsh reality. The world of reality TV thrives on drama, but often neglects the very real, raw pain behind those storylines. Fans of Alaskan Bush People saw the Browns as fearless wilderness warriors, battling nature and circumstance with unwavering unity. But as this deeply personal family conflict shows, the toughest battles aren't always fought in the forest. They're waged behind closed doors, in courtrooms, in group texts, and in the silence between two estranged siblings. So who is Noah Brown beneath the drama? Born July 18, 1992, Noah grew up in the heart of the Alaskan wilderness, one of 7 children raised by Billy and Amy Brown. Alaskan Bush People premiered in 2014, casting the family as off-grid pioneers living by their own rules in unforgiving terrain. Viewers were drawn to Noah's soft-spoken nature and his talent for craftsmanship, often building the shelters and tools that kept the family afloat. While other siblings clashed or stole the spotlight, Noah remained steady, practical, and deeply invested in his role as a provider. But real life, as always, is more complicated. Noah married Rain in 2018, and the couple's storyline, building a new life away from Alaska, introduced another layer to his journey. They eventually relocated to Washington State, choosing comfort and stability over the harsh conditions they once embraced. While some fans applauded the move as a natural evolution, others accused the couple of abandoning the show's survivalist roots. The shift symbolized something larger, a man trying to grow beyond the brand he was born into, even if it meant risking his public image. Yet behind the cameras, Noah was not just a wilderness man. He began exploring entrepreneurship, reportedly investing in small tech ventures and eco-sustainable construction tools inspired by his DIY background. While not flashy in the traditional celebrity sense, Noah's income from the series, combined with public appearances and low-key partnerships, allowed him to build modest wealth. It's estimated that Noah has earned several $100,000 through his time on Alaskan Bush People and related projects. His lifestyle is relatively low profile, but not without touches of luxury. Noah is known to favor practical but refined vehicles, most notably a rugged customized Jeep Wrangler and a black Ram pickup, both suited for rural terrains yet polished for the modern day. While not draped in diamonds or haute couture, Noah is occasionally seen with a Breitling Super Ocean watch, reflecting his appreciation for quality over flash. In terms of real estate, his home in Washington, reportedly worth over $400,000, is a departure from the wilderness, featuring solar panels, eco-friendly upgrades, and plenty of space for his growing family. And yes, like many reality stars, Noah has taken precautions. Insiders suggest that after their rise to fame, several members of the Brown family, including Noah, secured private insurance plans that cover loss of income due to injury or production delays. Some policies were reportedly extended to safeguard personal property and health during the show's more extreme filming periods. These financial protections underline a sharp awareness. Even the most rugged survivalists know the value of long-term planning. There's a financial lesson here worth paying attention to. Noah's transition from wild Alaskan woodsman to family man and property owner in Washington reveals a strategic shift. Simplify your identity to find real freedom. He diversified, not just in income, but in lifestyle. He stopped chasing the image and instead chased security. That pivot, quiet, calculated, and not always popular, is where the real power lies. The emotional toll was only part of the devastation. Financially, the Browns had poured a significant portion of their wealth into the North Star Ranch. Valued at over $1.6 million before the destruction, the estate was supposed to be the family's legacy, a tangible transition from screen survivalists to real-world landowners. But that dream, like the carefully crafted illusion of their TV persona, went up in smoke. Insurance might cover part of the damages, but the emotional loss and public exposure of their vulnerability cost them something no policy could replace: credibility. And just as the public began to reevaluate the family's place in pop culture, more revelations chipped away at their curated image. A production assistant, anonymous but well-connected, leaked that several crucial wilderness survival scenes were choreographed. Hooks like building cabins in the bitter cold, for example, were filmed in late spring with heaters off-camera and tools delivered by crew trucks. That one whisper opened floodgates. Soon, clips of the Browns allegedly checking into local motels during shoots started circulating online. The wilderness wasn't so wild after all. This exposure wasn't just damaging, it was pivotal. It flipped the script from admiration to accusation. Fans who once marveled at their tenacity were now dissecting footage frame by frame, spotting contradictions like luxury brand clothing in off-grid episodes or freshly cut lawns near abandoned shelters. Viewers weren't just angry, they were embarrassed, feeling duped by a myth sold as truth. The backlash wasn't confined to social media. Financially, the Browns brand started to crumble. Endorsements vanished almost overnight. Once courted by outdoor brands like Yeti and Bass Pro Shops, the family found themselves blacklisted. Revenue from YouTube replays and merchandise fell by nearly 60% in under a year. And even the value of their remaining property holdings took a nosedive as public sentiment shifted. But not every Brown faced the collapse the same way. Noah Brown, often overshadowed by the louder personalities in the family, began carving his own quiet empire. While his siblings leaned into the dramatic elements of the show, Noah turned to digital entrepreneurship. By 2023, he had launched a small tech gadget company, designing survival tools with a modern twist. His net worth, which hovered around $300,000 during his peak TV days, reportedly climbed to over $1.2 million, thanks to private investments and his growing YouTube following. Unlike others in his family, Noah invested wisely. He purchased a $650,000 ranch in Colorado, outfitted with solar panels, a rainwater harvesting system, and an underground bunker-style living space, blending his survivalist roots with real-world practicality. His garage, stocked with a Tesla Cybertruck, a vintage Jeep Wrangler restored by hand, and a Range Rover built for mountain terrain. Watches? A discreet but enviable collection featuring a Rolex Submariner and a Garmin Mark Adventurer, blending elegance with utility. Yet even as Noah quietly rebuilt his fortune, the shadow of his family's missteps loomed large. He rarely addressed the controversies directly but made subtle digs in interviews, hinting at a desire to break free from the curated wilderness fantasy and show people what real survival looked like, not just off the grid, but off the script. That shift toward transparency won him a different kind of following, less massive, but more loyal. It also drew the attention of streaming platforms looking for authentic, unscripted content. Rumors suggest Noah's working on a new docuseries, less reality TV and more documentary, aiming to explore sustainable living in the post-pandemic world. If successful, it could catapult his net worth into the $3 to $5 million range within the next 5 years. For comparison, his father Billy Brown's estate was estimated at around $5.5 million before his passing, though much of that is now tied up in probate due to disputes over inheritance and unresolved debts. Meanwhile, the rest of the Browns have found themselves clinging to fragments of their past fame. Real estate records reveal several properties listed under LLCs tied to the show have been either sold or heavily mortgaged. One such property in Tonasket, Washington, once featured as the family's forever home, was quietly sold for under market value at $790,000, despite an earlier appraisal closer to $1.1 million. Insiders speculate this quick sale was driven by outstanding debts and pressure from unpaid sponsors demanding refunds. Even Bear, after the destruction of his home, attempted to rebuild but struggled to secure financing. Sources say his credit rating suffered due to unpaid contractor fees and the cost of rebuilding without proper insurance. He now rents a small cabin nearby and is reportedly working on a book, tentatively titled Ashes to Iron, though publication remains uncertain. And the audience? They're still watching. Maybe not with the same admiration, but with curiosity. Because here's the truth. When the spotlight fades, when the myth fractures, and when the wilderness turns out to be just another set, what remains is raw humanity. The Browns may have started as symbols of isolation and self-reliance, but now they represent something else: our complicated relationship with reality, fame, and the stories we choose to believe. That transformation from legend to lesson may not have been what the Browns intended, but it's what they've become. And while some of them still chase the spotlight, others like Noah are beginning to understand that the real power lies not in what's shown, but in what's lived. It started not with a camera roll, but with silent devastation. Insurance battles, rebuilding permits, and the impossible task of replacing off-grid infrastructure weren't just logistical nightmares, they were emotional sinkholes. For Bear Brown, already overwhelmed by fatherhood, and a family teetering between unity and collapse, the aftermath became a silent scream no one could hear. Gone were the reality TV staged hardships. What the Browns were facing now wasn't survival for show, It was a storm no script could contain. Then came the moment that shattered the core. February 7th, 2021. Billy Brown was gone. The patriarch, the wilderness prophet, the heart of the Brown family, succumbed to a seizure at the family's Washington estate. Though his heart had long been fragile, his spirit remained untamed until the end. Fans weren't just mourning a television icon, they were mourning a symbol. A voice that once echoed through the Alaskan trees and American living rooms was silenced, and the Browns suddenly stood without their compass. Noah Brown, once known for his quiet strength, was hit the hardest. Billy's death wasn't just the loss of a father, it was the collapse of his foundation. Noah had been stepping into leadership, balancing homestead duties with the emotional weight of preserving a family legacy. But grief isn't linear, and for Noah, it became a series of burdens. Legal skirmishes within the family, a crumbling marriage, and the haunting question of whether he could ever live up to his father's spirit. The boy who once dreamed of building cabins now faced the wreckage of a fractured home, emotionally and physically. Alaskan Bush People shifted in kind. Season 13 became a cinematic eulogy. Gone were the roaring storms and dramatic animal encounters. In their place were tear-streaked faces, silences too loud, and a rawness rarely shown on television. Fans were invited into the intimate wreckage of the Brown household, where mourning wasn't edited and every frame bore the weight of absence. The show, now missing its soul, moved forward with a quieter heartbeat. But in the middle of this storm came a revelation more painful than any wild frontier. Noah Brown's marriage was crumbling. He and Rain Alicia had once seemed like a new chapter. From their sweet meeting in Hoonah to their 2018 wedding in Idaho, the story had hope. Rain had stepped into the world of off-grid survival with optimism, and together they brought 2 sons into the world, Elijah in 2019 and Adam in 2021. Yet beneath the Instagram smiles and quiet admiration, the fault lines began to form. By 2023, something had changed. Noah was increasingly absent from social media. Rain appeared solo. And then the bombshell dropped in August 2024. Noah and Rain filed a restraining order against Noah's sister, Rain, citing a disturbing blend of harassment, substance use, and alleged firearm threats. Suddenly, the family's private turmoil was dragged into the unforgiving spotlight. For a clan built on privacy and survival, this exposure was devastating. And just when the dust seemed to settle, another shock. Noah confirmed that Rain had asked him to move out. January 2025 marked the end of what many fans had seen as a cornerstone of the post-Billy Brown era. Noah's online announcement wasn't flashy. It was raw, honest. A man asking for prayers, not likes. He wasn't a reality TV star in that moment. He was a father trying to make sense of another collapse. As the divorce moved forward, fans noticed a marked shift in Noah. His online presence became sparse, his tone introspective. He spoke only of his children, small woodworking projects, and quiet moments in the wild. The man who once built for others was now trying to reconstruct himself. The pain in his eyes during occasional show appearances was undeniable. He was still present, but hollowed out. Financially, the Browns once embodied rugged wealth. From their TV show earnings and book deals to merchandise and endorsement opportunities, their collective net worth was estimated at around $60 million during peak years. Billy Brown alone had reportedly amassed over $6 million, with investments in Alaskan real estate and production credits. Noah, though not the flashiest, developed an impressive real estate profile. Owning a secluded home in Tonasket, Washington, valued near $700,000, and reportedly scouting land in Oregon for private use. Their luxury tastes, once quietly tucked behind cabin doors, have become more visible in recent years. Noah is said to have owned a customized GMC Sierra 1500, perfect for off-grid commutes, and a Polaris Ranger ATV for rugged terrain. And there you have it, Robert Mitchum, the rebel, the heartthrob, the Hollywood outlaw who never played by the rules but still wrote his name in the stars. From prison bars to red carpets, from noir shadows to beachy retirement days, Mitchum's story proves that cool isn't something you fake, it's something you are. If you loved this wild ride through old-school Tinseltown, hit that like button, drop a comment on your favorite Mitchum moment, and don't forget to subscribe. We've got even more legendary stories coming your way.